Hello everyone. How are you? And happy Halloween. I hope you all ready are for some fun Halloween stories. Hello Paula, how are you? I have some fun Halloween stories tonight, very short stories, and a fun way to spend our Halloween night. And as you see, I have the lovely haunted rocking doll. She's up there, along with the scary story books. And as you can see, we're getting the rooms in order. My daughter's been helping me for the last several weeks, and she'll come down 2 days, and we sure are getting a lot done from the remodel. And that is what started our spirit activity. So, will they make a appearance tonight? I don't know. Oh, good for you. You won playing bingo. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I put her in here because, well, I'm reading my stories. I don't know if she will rock or not, but I do have her in here just in case, along with the other haunted doll across from her. And they are by the candles there, you see. And so those are two of my, well, you can see partially the third haunted doll. You can see her down below. You can see her head and shoulders. So I do have 3 of them, maybe 4. I'm not sure. Yeah, I have 4 of them in there. I didn't realize I had all 4 of the haunted dolls in the same place. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. I would appreciate it. That way I know you can hear the stories. And I didn't turn music on tonight because I didn't want to overpower the stories, or if you guys have any stories you would like to share. If you've had any ghostly experiences or spirits in your home, just write it in the comments and let me know about it. That is how our spirit activity started. We started changing things around in the house and redoing the rooms, and pretty soon we were hearing footsteps and things like that happened, things moving. And then when I bought the haunted doll, the lady did reveal to me that she is haunted before I bought her. So I bought her anyway, so I think she has something to do with the sounds in the house and objects moving around. All right, we're going to get started. If you are still out trick-or-treating with the kids or at a party, no worries. You can always watch the replay, and listen to the stories. I had written some really fun, cute stories. And I do have as minimal light as I can. I know the spirits like a little darker. So while I'm reading the stories, I will turn out the one light so that it has a little bit less light in here. Let's see how that looks. Let me get this light out. There, how does that look? And I can turn that one out while we're telling the stories. All right, you can hear me very well. Good, good. Oh, yeah, see, that's what, and you can still see the haunted doll that rocks in her chair. If you see her rocking while I'm telling the stories, please let me know. All right, let's get started with, excuse me, I'm going to take a drink and we are going to get started with scary story number 1. Number 1. I was awakened at 2 a.m. Sitting up, I rubbed my eyes. Something was different. The room felt colder, darker. I reached for the light on the bedside table. It gave off a yellowish glow. Puzzled, I got up and walked around the room. Everything was the same but different. It appeared to be 100 years older. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling to the furniture. I must tell my parents. I ran to the door. As I reached for the door handle and pulled it open, and that is mini story number 1. And I hope you all enjoyed that story. Hello, Heather. Sassy Vermont Mom is joining the stories. Hello, hello. And congratulations, Paula. Yep, I wrote just for fun. I sat down. Like I said, my daughter has been here. We have been working for the last 2 days, getting the doll room in order, as you can see. Some of it is done, and she has been working so hard. And so I sat and wrote some mini stories just to have fun, scary stories on Halloween. And I hope your Halloween is going great and you are, oh yeah, it's 10:30 p.m. Oh, it's 10:30 your time. Right. If you have a spirit activity or you have had an experience with a ghost, please share it in the comments and I will share it during this live. I'm going to, before I go on to story number 2, I'm going to tell you about a real experience that my granddaughter, Bristol, and I experienced. No, not Bristol. I should say Sarah. It was when Sarah was 3 years old. I got Bristol on the brain. My daughter had come over with Sarah to visit, and the courtyard that I lived in, it was a big apartment complex we lived in, and people were constantly reporting to the management that there were ghosts in the graveyard or in the courtyard, and they of course didn't believe it, and the stories got around and everyone's talking about it. Well, my daughter come over for a visit, and I was telling her about the spirits that people were seeing in the courtyard. And she kind of laughed and balked it off, and, oh, Mom, that, ghosts don't exist, blah, blah, blah. Well, we had gone into the bedroom to go through some clothes, and she was sitting on the bed, and my granddaughter was playing on the floor, and I was showing her the clothes. And all of a sudden, there were 4 or 5 knocks on the patio door. And I said, told you. And of course, my granddaughter jumped up and said, I'll get it. And I'm like, no. You let me look. I want to look. And I had a feeling there was no one out there. And so my daughter went running behind me, and she flung open the curtain to look out the patio door, and no one was there. And she's like, no, can't be, no. There is no ghost. And the minute we turned around to go back to the bedroom, there were 4 or 5 knocks on the door again. And she hurried up and whipped open the curtain again, and there was no one there. And I'll tell you what, it made a believer out of my daughter, because it scared her. She went running for the bedroom and said, when I go home, you're walking to the car with me. It was so funny. And that is one of our true stories. That really did happen. Heather said she has had. Oh, you've been watching bite-sized scaries. That's what they are, really, a bite-sized scary story. Okay, let's move on to our scary story number 2. The storm had been raging for days. Halloween night was no different. I decided to go to bed early, so walking up the stairs, the lights went out. I could hear a light shuffle of footsteps from somewhere outside. I froze in place, straining to hear. The back door opened. Footsteps in the kitchen. On the living room carpet. Toward the stairs. I slowly turned around to see. Scary story number 2. Could you guys hear the sound effects really good? When Jake was a baby, he would laugh and giggle at a spot on the wall and stare even if you tried to turn his head. Ooh. When my mom one day waved her hand on the blank spot on the wall and said, "Go away and leave him alone." That night he woke screaming and staring at that spot, shaking in fear. I tried to hold him to comfort. Oh my, that is scary. See, the spirit didn't go away, but the spirit was angry, so it took it out on Jake, scared him. Oh, yeah, she angered. You know, the spirit was throwing a temper tantrum rather than go away like she asked. It was mad. So, yeah, you got to be careful when speaking with spirits. There's a right way and a wrong way. Most of the time, you don't want to talk to them. Like if I hear sounds, and they can trick you. Spirits can trick you, especially doppelgangers. Doppelgangers can mimic someone you love. They can mimic the sound of a friend or loved one's voice. And I was on the telephone with a friend of mine, and we were talking about things and catching up with each other, and 2 people heard the same thing, and both of us heard "sweetie," which is what my sweetheart calls me, and loud as day. And it, and we were talking, and I went, "Yeah," because I automatically answered him, because number 1, I was on the phone talking with my friend, and number 2, he had called to me, and there was nothing. No answer back, no talk from him. And her and I got real quiet on the phone, and I said, "You did hear that, right?" And she said, "I heard him call you." And it was unnerving for her. I'm kind of used to it, but she didn't like that, not one bit. She's like, "I know I heard his voice, and I heard him call to you." And so they can trick you like that. So you got to be careful. If you know your house is haunted, or you're in a place where spirits roam, you got to really be careful when you hear, and if you know that person is not home, do not answer. But I think I was distracted from the phone call, and I automatically said, "Yeah," meaning answering the call of my name he uses for me. So yeah, they can trick you. You got to be very careful. When we moved, there was a black entity that chased me around my house and showed up on the baby. Ooh, that's not good. And was at my bedroom door one night. Looked like my other son. I asked what it wanted with no reply. I went to his room to ask why he didn't answer me, and that's what he wanted, and he was sound asleep. Yep, see, that you got to be careful of that too, because you just got to be careful, you know, and that's kind of scary. Now, good entities will be either white or a grayish white, but they will not be black. If you see a black, really black, dark entity in your home, it is not a good spirit. So you want to get your house blessed and get that spirit gone. You don't want them hanging around your house. And I can tell you another real story. Several years ago, I was taking care of my Popo, and he kept telling me that something was opening his closet door. And so I calmed him down, and I would make sure the door was shut. I would get him in bed, and then I would go home, and he would be calling me and telling me the door was open again. So I had stayed over there, and he called my name, and I went in his room, and he said, something turned out my light again. And I, thinking that maybe, you know, because he was getting older, and we weren't sure if he was getting dementia or not, and I turned the light back on, and I said, Spirit, now you leave his light alone. Leave it on. And just as I turned to walk out of the room, I heard the click of the light, and it went out. And he was like, see, I told you. I told you. Well, you better believe the next day I had his house blessed. I called the church, and they came over and blessed the house, and he never had a problem after that. So yeah, you gotta be careful. This house hasn't had any activity that I've noticed. Seems since my dad passed away and his ashes are here, no activity. Oh, yay. He's probably watching over you. Yeah, wow is right, Heather. That was really a scary time for him. You know, can you imagine being older and you know you're sick and you're older, and so he knew he was seeing something in the closet, and it kept turning, and he never liked the dark. He did not want it to be dark, and so the one thing the entity was doing was turning out his light before it came out of the closet. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to our scary story number 3. Halloween was days away. I couldn't wait to have a party. My theme being scary dolls. While out shopping for my costume, I ended up at the Goodwill. I was drawn to this beautiful life-size doll dress. The sales clerk boasted it was Bloody Babette's, an old Halloween prop from Hollywood. The life-size doll was destroyed. They saved the dress to sell. I was memorized by the dress, so I took it home. Drifting off to sleep, I pictured myself in the beautiful dress. When 3 a.m., I was jolted awake. that's our mini scary story number 3. How did you like that one? Give me my dress. Oh, that's so cute. I just love writing scary stories for people and for the radio stations and magazines. It is so much fun. That was Oh, hi, Tiffany. Happy Halloween to you, too. Yeah, that was a little creepy, wasn't it? Give me my dress. Give me my dress. Creepy, creepy. And I don't know if you were here, Tiffany. I told everyone about the true spirit story about when the spirits knocked on the patio door and you went running to the bedroom. Yeah, that was when she didn't believe in them. Now she does. Yeah. She don't like scary movies, though. She won't watch scary movies. She don't like none of that. She stays away from that kind of stuff. Thank you for coming in and celebrating Halloween with us with our scary stories. And Heather did share one that she had, and her other comment is, I was on the phone with a friend who had experienced before with home he purchased. The past owner who passed away haunted it. He has to tell him to move on and didn't live there anymore. Well, when I saw the black... Oh, she didn't get to finish it. Oh, yeah, scared the snot out of me. Nope, hate scary movies. It did too, guys. It did scare her because, you know, she was so sure someone was at my patio door, and there was no one there. And that courtyard, they said, had been haunted for years. And I'm sure, you know, people pass away and they don't want to move on, and for some reason they're stuck earthbound. And I know spirits are all around us every day. But some of them are unhappy, and they can cause havoc. So you just have to be diligent. And if you have a scary story you would like to tell, let me know. Now, I have another. It's a real story, but it's not quite a ghost story, but you would think it was in the end. But when I was in Girl Scouts, I would go to camp every summer. My sister and I would go to Girl Scout camp for 2 weeks. Well, you know, we had college girls that were our scout masters, and of course they were there to watch over us. They had a lot of college girls as monitors to keep us safe and watch over all the girls. They would always sit around the campfire at night before we went to bed, and they would tell scary stories. And some of the girls that didn't like scary stories, they would take them to another campfire, and they would sing songs and not tell scary stories. But me, you know me, I was always one to stay in the campfire with the scary stories. So we had turned in, they showed us how to put the campfire out, of course, and we all turned into our tents, and they were tents up on wooden platforms. And so you would have to go up the wooden steps to get to the platform, and then we closed our tent, we all crawled in bed, and we heard this. Now, being young girls, the first thing you think, you just got done listening to all these scary stories. Excuse me a minute. We just got done listening to all these scary stories, and we're hearing this funny sound because it was out in the woods, you know, where the tents were. It was like a wooded park, and we all sat quietly at first, and then we heard it again. And so then we started screaming and to get the scout leaders to come and help us, and we're screaming and carrying on and all huddled on one end of the tent, and the next thing we know, we heard 3 or 4 more footsteps or shuffling sound, and a deer popped his head into the front of our tent. Literally popped his head into the front of our tent, and we were screaming like banshees. And I'll tell you, the monitors and scout leaders were laughing so hard. Of course, when they came running, the deer ran off. But you would think that was a scary story. Yep, that was fun. That was real. I'll never forget that. It's funny how things stick in your mind. But, you know, to a young girl, that was horrifying to hear the shuffling sound, and you didn't know what it was, and oh my goodness. Yeah, that would be horrifying. All right, let's read some of our comments. Queen Bees, babies and stuff, happy Halloween to you too. Annette Artie, happy Halloween. And Tiffany, let's see, I read that comment. Did my second comment come through? No, it ended with, well, when I saw the black. That's the last comment that came through, Heather, when I saw the black. And then there wasn't another one to keep reading. Heather said she was a Girl Scout also. Oh, cool, you got an alternative Halloween. I was going to get out the Halloween babies, but I figured it was so close to Halloween, and my daughter is busy getting the rooms put back together. I didn't want to make another mess because she has to come back this week for 2 days in a row, and we need to finish up the doll room and the nursery. So I didn't want to pull much out for her. I'll bring them out next Halloween. Deer said, I heard you have the best cookies. I don't know what that deer was thinking or why he thought he could pop his head into our tent, or what even made him do that. But I'll tell you what, we were screaming. Can you imagine, 7 or 8, 9-year-olds screaming their full heads off? I can imagine what those monitors were thinking. Like, what the heck is going on? Yeah, I guess it is better than a bear. And if you are joining us late, please go back and listen to the mini scary shorts that I wrote for this Halloween night. You are going to like them. They're really short and cute. And a little bit scary. I guess they're scary stories. And we have one more to go, but I left the floor open for anyone right now who does have a scary story to tell. I will read it out loud if you would like to tell if you've had a ghostly experience or have been in a real haunted place, not one of these made-up haunted places. I will give you a story. I think I've said this one before in another video, but I will tell it again because it's Halloween night. My girlfriend lived in an apartment complex, and she had her boyfriend with her. No, I take that back. It was her boyfriend's apartment. She was at her boyfriend's house, and I had gone over to visit. Well, she talked me into staying the night there because we wanted to go shopping the next day and out to lunch and just make a girl's day of it. And she wanted me to get up in the morning with her, have coffee and chit-chat, and then take off. So I readily agreed, of course. Why wouldn't I? And I slept down on the couch, and It had gotten pretty late. It was around 11:30, and her and her boyfriend went up to bed, and I got ready for bed and settled down on the couch, and I'm laying there, and I saw the refrigerator door open. Now, the way their apartment was set up, I mean, they could have come down the other stairs and went in the kitchen and got something to drink, and they didn't have to cross by me to do it. So I thought, I saw it open, and I thought maybe one of them had come down to get a soda or something, you know. And so I just laid there, and it closed again, and I ignored it. And then I had trouble going to sleep. But, you know, when you're at someone else's house on their couch, of course you're going to have a little trouble going to sleep. And I kind of rolled over, tossed and turned a little bit, and then I saw what looked like a dark shadow dart from out of the kitchen, up the stairs, and around the corner. And I had to do a double take, like I couldn't wrap my head around what I just saw, and it gave me a bad feeling. And within 3 seconds of me seeing that, they both come stumbling down the stair steps. Both of them looked white as a sheet, and they told me something had attacked them, had come through the door and attacked them in their bed. Well, let me tell you, I went home that night. There's no way I'm staying in that apartment when they come running down like two scaredy cats, white as ghosts, and telling me something attacked them. I'm gone. So I told her to tell her boyfriend to get that apartment blessed. Something bad was in that apartment. And she never spent the night there again either. Nope, I never went back to his apartment, and she never stayed there again. So that is a true story. And I seen it with my own eyes. When the black entity was chasing me around my house, I was on the phone with a friend who had dealt with his own haunting, and phone was on speaker. When I began to scream, he had witnessed other things at my apartment. I could barely say what it was, and he yelled at it to leave me alone and other things, and told me bless myself. It disappeared like smoke. Yes, they can come in and then just vanish right before your eyes. They just vanish. Tiffany Taylor said, I would have died. Yeah, well, let me tell you, not too many things really scare me, but that was a really black entity. It really was. And I seen it come around the corner, shoot up the stairs. It almost makes you think you can't believe what your eyes are seeing. Did I just see that? Did I really see that? Like, you know, and had they not come tearing down the stairs, I would have convinced myself it was nighttime shadows. It was, you know, I would have went to sleep thinking it was nothing. I didn't see it. And so, yeah, it was pretty creepy. It was pretty... My story is way too long to post. Well, can you maybe put the gist of it? Like, I was at a friend's house, and she had spirits there. Or you can send it to me, and when we do our ghost hunt video, I will tell it then. So either way you want to do it, hon, you can either write it to me or and wait until our ghost hunt, or you can just do a mini short version of it. Kind of like the stories I'm writing. You get some of the story, but it's not super long. Yeah. And I'll tell you guys another true story. I do a lot of games on my channel, and this was in the daytime. It was in the afternoon. I do most of my games videos in the afternoon. And one of my YouTubers asked me if I had a fan in the room, and I said no. Why? And there was a string that was attached to a doll, and it kept moving up and down. And now my YouTubers were witnessing this, and then finally somebody said, do you have a fan on? And it really was creepy that the spirit was showing activity in daytime, and other things that have happened. A couple of my ghost hunts, they saw a shadow cross the room. I had the video player going all night long, and several people reported the same shadow figure crossing the room at the same time. Now, if one person claimed it, maybe not, never know, did she see it, did she not? But when several people report the same shadow figure at the same time, you know that they saw it, because it's the same thing by several people. And that was during one of our ghost hunts. I feel evil doings attracted the... Yes. If you keep positivity and light in your house, it tends to keep positive spirits and good spirits around you. You don't want to, if you do happen to get a bad entity that tries to intermingle with your other spirits, you get rid of them. You cast them out, you get your house blessed, you get them gone right away. You don't let them linger in your home. Okay, all right, Ashley, that's what we'll do. That sounds good. There was a time when I was young, I would see spirits, and my mom always thought I was making up stories. And she didn't fully understand or believe until I was 14 years old, and she had witnessed it with her own eyes. That's usually what it takes. Someone to witness it with their own eyes before they will believe, because my girlfriend, her boyfriend didn't believe either. He would always laugh at her when she talked about hauntings and spirits, and boy, he got fooled. That night that entity attacked him and her in the bed, he never doubted spirits again. Never, ever. So yeah, until they see it. I know my late husband died here in the house, and every once in a while I can feel him here. See, if you feel him, he most likely is watching over you, and that's a good thing. As long as he don't disturb anything or cause chaos, and you know he's watching over you. Yep. After I moved out, the old rocking chair in the basement that had no tenant or landlord knew of, the basement was unfinished, and then found out our neighbor upstairs was an evil old man with past awful crime. Ooh, that's really scary. Really scary. I don't like that. Yeah, see, that's when you do bad things in life, you're going to do bad things in death as a spirit. Yep, that is so true. All right, let's move on to, I have scary story number 4. Number 4. My friends and I decided to spend Halloween night in the cemetery. On the way, I got a feeling of foreboding. We arrived, and with great hesitation, I followed my friends in. There was the echoing of footsteps all around the graveyard. Was someone or something following us. A large shadow flew overhead, and we began to run. The footsteps running behind us. With a gust of wind, I found myself sprawled out on the ground. I could feel something turning my head. I couldn't believe. Makes you wonder what she saw, hey? Awesome scary story number 4. And those are mini short scary stories. That one just cracks me up. And I'm like, I wonder how many people are going to ask me, well, what'd she see? What'd she see? That's for me to know and you to wonder about. Oh, writing scary stories is so much fun. My agent one time told me to. He's like, I'm going to get you out of your comfort zone. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. He told me, I'm going to get you out of your comfort zone. I want you to write a love story. And man, I'll tell you what, guys, I racked my brain. I am a ghost story writer. I am not a love story writer. I write ghost stories. And so I'm thinking, he wants a love story? Okay, I'll give him a love story. So I gave him a ghostly love story where the man and the woman got together and they had a life and they were in love, and then the man passed away and he came back to save her from, after time she met a new man, and he came back from as a spirit to save her from this bad guy that she was about to marry. And there he had his love story. I'll tell you what, I did not make any points with him. He was not too happy with me. He said, I said a love story, not a ghost love story. But when you're a ghost writer, it's hard to go outside your gentry, your forte, and think of a love story. I love love, but I don't write about it. And Heather says, when my grandma passed away, she came to my aunt at the foot of her bed for a couple of nights later to say, don't worry, she is at peace, and take care of my aunt who was her daughter and disabled in a wheelchair. Aww. Paula said she has some ideas. Woo. She's going to text them to me later. That's going to be fun. I always appreciate ideas. And I still, and needless to say, guys, although my agent was upset with me, my story did get published. And it won an award. So I will, one of these nights, read a mini version of it for you. I have all my stories in an album that have been either published or in the newspaper, and that is one of them. So I will read that to you and show you how I did it. But yeah, I thought I was being cute, Hey, I can still write a ghost story and a love story. Yep. But he wasn't too happy with me at that. And I am sure many places tell him Romeo and Juliet was scary love story. Yeah, it was, but that's not what he wanted me to do. The company that put the calling out wanted a love story. But yeah, they didn't take it, of course. It didn't meet their standards, but he went and submitted it to another company, and that is how it ended up winning an award. The same with my vampire poem. it won an award too. So it did get a good reviews and won the award. So I wasn't too unhappy that they didn't want my story. So I guess they were looking for a real love story, not a ghostly love story. So yeah, and I was not unhappy about it at all. I really liked my ghost love story. That's the only one. The only one I've ever written. I've never written another love story, ghost story. I'm not into that. I like the scary ones. I like writing about the scary, what was that sound? Especially the one I wrote about the old farmhouse. She was home alone waiting for her dad to get home, and she looked out the big picture window and snow was on the ground, and she could have sworn she saw shadows moving in the moonlight. This frightened her when all of a sudden she heard sounds coming from somewhere upstairs. Tap, 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 tap. The sounds kept getting louder and louder. As she went to the kitchen, she was looking for a place to hide. Tap, 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 tap. It sounded like the sound was on the stairs. How do you like that one? That's the old farmhouse. I might go ahead and read that to you one night too, if we have, maybe next Halloween or during one of our ghost hunts. I will read that story to you. But those are the stories that I like to write about. If I wrote down my night terrors, I'd have a best. I know, night terrors are not fun. Let me tell you, they are not fun. No, 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 they are not fun. But they can be just as scary. And some people don't read scary stories, or and this is why I kept mine. I wanted to enjoy Halloween night with everyone, so that is why I kept them at a minimal, because I knew even my daughter wouldn't mind hearing these scary stories, because even on the last one she said, what did she say? That was cute. I didn't want to write really scary stories because I wanted it for everyone, including those that don't like scary stories or it makes them afraid. So they can listen to them, and they're scary and cute, but not too scary. So that's what I was accomplishing, and I can see that I did accomplish what I set out to do. There is a ghost pirate on the TV screen. Yeah. How do you like my little ghost there? He is a pirate on a tombstone. Yes, and if you guys remember, the reason I put him, Ashley said I used to write short stories. Girl, you ought to keep it up. It really is good for journaling. And I'll tell you what, sometimes my stories come to me in the middle of the night. I keep a journal right next to my bed because sometimes I'll wake up with an idea in my head, and there it is, and I'll write out 2 or 3 sentences, and then I can write a whole story around those 2 or 3 sentences. So that is why I encourage everyone to keep a journal by your bed. You never know when something's going to come to you in your sleep, and you need to write it down. So that's how a lot of my stories have been come to fruition, is because in the middle of the night, I woke up, wrote it down, and created the story. So yeah, that's what you want. He's adorable. Yes, he is. And the reason I put him on the screen is because I did the skeleton video for the trailer for tonight's scary stories. I did the video trailer in skeletons, so that is why he is on the TV screen. Yep. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming in and enjoying the mini scary stories with me. And I hope you will give me that big thumbs up, that big like, and share it with your family and friends. What a fun Halloween. Scary shorts for you tonight. I have song lyrics and tunes come to me and have to write them down. Yes, a lot of my poetry has come to me the same way. I am going to leave the video play for a little bit. And if the spirits do announce themselves and come into the room and my girl starts rocking or the other dolls move their heads, please let me know what time and when they moved, because I would really like to know. Now, even though it's a little dark over by the dolls, you still will be able to see her dress move or the baby start rocking. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. Oh, Patricia. Sorry I was late. Oh, that's okay, honey. It's going to run for a little bit. And if you guys see any activity whatsoever, write it down with the time and which doll it was. Maybe I will go ahead. Now, spirits do not like the light either. So what I'm going to do, let me turn this upwards. That way you have light but not directly on the dolls. Let's see how that looks. And then you can see them a little bit better. Oh, I don't know. There you go. See, you can see them a little bit better, but the light is not directly on them. So, if you do see anything move, let me know which doll it is and what they were doing. And I hope you all have a good Halloween night. It is almost 10:15, and you never know, guys. It's not going to play all night like it does. I'll just leave it on for maybe 15 minutes, and hopefully the spirits will make themselves known, or maybe not. We only welcome light and not dark spirits to your space. Like we spoke about the haunted dolls. No dark energy. That's right. No dark energy allowed. Only good energy. Hello, the Spider Master. Awesome name. Wow. Hello, hello. All right, guys. I will be back in a little bit. Enjoy the stories. While you're waiting, you can either rewatch the stories or watch for any spirit activity. Since we have rearranged the house and remodeled, we have had a lot of spirit activity. Things getting moved, names called, knocking sounds. The baby in the rocking chair up there, the older doll, she will rock her chair or her legs will be in a different position. The other girl on the right side of the doll in the rocking chair likes to move her head side to side. She will move her head and you will also see her dress move. And she likes to move forward. But I hope she don't move forward tonight or she's going to come right off the shelf. So I hope she knows that. Thank you for coming in, the Spider Master. I appreciate that. I really do. Happy Halloween for all. Thank you, TZ, for great creative stories. Well, thank you, Heather, for joining us on our Happy Halloween. I'll see you guys back in a few minutes. Okay, everyone, thank you for coming in and enjoying our scary stories. I really appreciate spending Halloween with you. I don't know. I was coming in from the other room, but it looks like it did get a little bit brighter. It might have had some energy. Might have had an energy surge. But I have one more. Before we go, I have one more true story to tell you. Oh, Sacred Emotions. You'll have to watch the rerun, hon. Sorry you missed it. We had some really good mini scary stories for everyone. Not too scary, but not too, what do you want to say? They were medium scary. So you'll have to watch it. It was really fun. But I have one more true story before we sign off tonight. That happened to me. Like I said, my daughter has been here for 2 weeks in a row on the weekends, getting things in order. I told her I'm just so tired of living in this mess that got left when COVID hit, and then I got really sick, and everything came to a standstill, and I just can't live like this anymore. And I try to ignore it, and so I have ignored it for another year and a half, and we get little things done at a time, but we need more help. And so my daughter has been very gracious with her time and energy, and she is getting the doll room and the nursery put back together, and all the dolls in one place again, and some of them you see here in the background are now put up, and she has really been working hard. But needless to say, the reason I told you that is because she didn't come today because it is Halloween, and the kids, she wanted to take safe trick-or-treats, and so she had to get them ready and take them, and cute little buggers in their costumes. And so I decided to do some of the small stuff. I can't do too much heavy stuff, so I was putting some of the smaller stuff away into the craft room, and I was walking back and forth into the doll room and to the nursery, and I had decided to take a short break. And so I sat down, and I was sitting there for a little bit, and the cats were both with me, so I know it wasn't the cats. And I heard this loud crash, like it just was a loud crash, like many things went flying across the room. So I jumped up and I went to investigate, and sure enough, in the nursery that you guys have seen before, where I have all the stuff on the 2 shelves there, the bottom shelf, everything on the right end of the shelf was now on the floor, literally scattered on the floor. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, oh, I am not happy with this. We don't do things like this. Now, whether the spirit wanted my attention could be 2 things. The spirits we riled up did not like the changes, or it was angry that things were being taken away and put into the doll room. So I don't know what caused the spirit to wipe that shelf off, but it's unacceptable in my book. I don't want to clean up a mess like that. But that literally happened today, as a matter of fact. And so, yeah, I get a little jumpy when things like that happen, because there's so many reasons that it could have happened, but it's not good when spirits can do things like that. So you really don't want them around. So that spirit has to be gone. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We have to get rid of that spirit, because that kind of behavior is very unacceptable. And so that is what happened to me today. And it's funny that it's right the day after we had been doing and moving everything from the nursery to the doll room, back to the nursery, and things out of the other room into the nursery. So that is why I came to the conclusion maybe the spirit didn't like the changes, because sometimes they don't like changes. They enjoy what is already there, and we start changing things up. So that is my last real story of the night, and I hope we both jumped when we were on the phone and the games got oh, I remember that. That's right, when we were talking on the phone and the game see, that happened a while back, guys, when we were getting things picked up from the mess that the workers created when they stacked everything, and Angel and I were visiting on the phone, and we heard a crash, and I had my games that we play online stacked up, and they all were knocked over. I showed her that they had all been knocked over, and that is unacceptable also. And I was glad she heard it too. It wasn't just me, you know, telling somebody this is what happened, my games got knocked over. She actually heard them. And when we both heard someone call out to you, oh yes, yes, and that was also recently. Oh my gosh, Angel, her and I were talking on the phone another time, and that is when we heard someone call out to me, and I answered. I think I told you earlier in the video about that. So yes, that and Angel heard it with her own ears. It wasn't just me telling you guys that someone called out to me. She heard it too, and we both got quiet because I answered. I said, yeah. And so we're both waiting for him to say something, and there was nothing. And I'm like, you heard that too, right? You heard that. And she's like, I heard that. That's how loud it was. She heard it call out to me. I'm like, who's that? You said you heard that too. You heard it. I'm getting hair standing up. Ha! Yeah, we did too, Paula. We did too, because I was so glad that she heard it because I heard it. And it's so mentally satisfying that someone else can, it's not you just telling a story that my house is haunted. You have a witness, someone else who is hearing it also, that knows your house is haunted. Because why would, you know, when I answered yeah, he should have, if he was here or had just gotten home and called out to me, he would have responded. And those are the doppelgangers I was telling you about. You got to be careful with doppelgangers, because they can sound just like a loved one. It was creepy and so clear. Yes, it was. It was really clear, guys. Yeah, see, now you know how true that story is. I don't make up hauntings. It's true. You know, my house is haunted, and that has twice that Angel and I have been talking on the phone, and she heard the crash as well as I heard the crash, and then she heard someone call out to me. And it made me mad that I answered it, because it really, you don't want to, if you hear your name called, you want to wait a few minutes. But I think being on the phone and just talking, and the minute I heard sweetheart, I just, yeah, you know, because you're distracted from what you're doing. Look out the corner of your eye at the door on the right. Is her dress moving on the bottom? I wouldn't doubt it, because she inches forward, and I have Princey Girl here with me, and I'll tell you what, Princey Girl is looking up at the dolls, so I would not doubt it if her dress is moving, because the cat is very intent on those two dolls, just staring at them. And so I have to look back through the video, because I could have sworn her hand went up just maybe slightly, a half an inch. Her hand looks higher to me. So when I left the room, I think she raised her hand a little bit, but I will have to go back through the video and watch and see. And I want to mark the areas that, just like the shadow I saw cross over, almost like something was following me. So I want to mark that. I know I saw that. So yeah, I would not put it past her dress to be moving. All right, guys, thank you for coming in. Happy Halloween to everyone. And now we will get back to our other games. They will be ending soon. We have 2 that have ended, and we are going to be doing What's in My Sandbox. That is, my daughter helped me get that completely prepared. So we will be doing that this week too. So you all have a good, scary night. I'll see you in another game.